Hello, I'm Paul Griffin again, here with you for the fourth installment of Titbottom Spectacles, a short story written in the middle of the 19th century. The author is George William Curtis, and we should be getting finished with it today, I hope. It's been good, I like it. I hope you've enjoyed the reading also. Leaves one thinking about what people are like inside of them, their personalities, what they're hiding from the public, or what they show us that is real about them, and things like that. It's been a good read so far. So again, this is the fourth installment. We left Mr. Titbottom at Prue's house and the main character's house for dinner. He's talking about the history of his childhood on an island in the West Indies, the Caribbean, and he's talking about the use of the spectacles. And the use of the spectacles is almost addictive, like a magical power that's always drawing Titbottom to them, to use them, to wear them, to see the world through them. What he sees when viewing the world through these glasses has left him, Mr. Titbottom, in quite a perpetual melancholy state, it seems. So let's continue reading today, fourth installment of Mr. Titbottom's Spectacles. These things were matters of long, long ago, and I came to this country soon after. I brought with me premature age, a past of melancholy memories, and the magic spectacles. I had become their slave. I had nothing more to fear. Having seen myself, I was compelled to see others properly, to understand my relations to them. The lights that cheer the future of other men had gone out for me. My eyes were those of an exile turned backwards upon the receding shore, and not forwards with hope upon the ocean. I mingled with men, but with little pleasure. There are but many varieties of a few types. I did not find those I came to clearer sighted than those I had left behind. I heard men called shrewd and wise, and reports said that they were highly intelligent and successful. But when I looked at them through my glasses, I found no halo of real manliness. My finest sense detected no aroma of purity and principle, but I saw only a fungus that had fattened and spread in a night. They all went to the theater to see actors upon the stage. I went to see actors in the boxes, so consummately cunning that the others did not know they were acting, and they did not suspect it themselves. Perhaps you wonder, it did not make me misanthropical. My dear friends, do not forget that I had seen myself. It made me compassionate, not cynical. Of course, I could not value highly the ordinary standards of success and excellence. When I went to church and saw a thin blue artificial flower, a great sleepy cushion expounding the beauty of holiness, to pews full of eagles, half-eagles, and threepences, however adroitly concealed in broadcloth and boots, or saw an onion in an Easter bonnet, weeping over the sins of Magdalene. I do not feel as they felt who saw in all this not only prosperity, but piety. Or when at public meetings an eel stood up on end, and wriggled and squirmed ruefully in every direction, and declared that for his part he went in for rainbows not hot and not water. He went in for rainbows and hot water. How could I help seeing that he was still black and loved a slimy pool? I could not grow misanthropical when I saw in the eyes of so many who were called odd the gushing fountains of eternal youth and the light of an immortal dawn, or when I saw those who were esteemed unsuccessful and aimless ruling a fair realm of peace and plenty, either in themselves or more perfectly in another. A realm and princely possession for which they had well renounced a hopeless search and a belated triumph. I knew one man who had been for years a byword for having sought the philosopher's stone, but I looked at him through the spectacles and saw satisfaction in concentrated energies and a tenacity arising from the devotion of a noble dream, which was not apparent in the youths. who pitied him in the aimless effeminacy of clubs, nor in the clever gentlemen who cracked their thin jokes upon him over a gossiping dinner. And there was your neighbor over the way who passes for a woman who has failed in her career because she is an old maid. People wag solemn heads of pity and say that she made so great a mistake in not marrying the brilliant and famous man who for long years her suitor. It is clear that no orange flower will ever bloom for her. The young people make tender romances about her as they watch her, and they think of her solitary hours of bitter regret and wasting longing, never to be satisfied. When I first came to town, I shared the sympathy and pleased my imagination with fancying her hard struggle with the conviction that she had lost all that made life beautiful. I suppose that if I looked at her through my spectacles, I should see that it was only her radiant temperament which so illuminated her dress, that we did not see it to be heavy sables. But when one day I had raised my glasses and glanced at her, I did not see the old maid whom we all pitied for a secret sorrow, but a woman whose nature was a tropic, in which the sun shone, and birds sang and flowers blossomed or bloomed forever. There were no regrets, no doubts and half wishes, but a calm sweetness, a transparent peace. I saw her blush when that old lover passed by or paused to speak to her, but it was the only sign of delicate feminine consciousness. She knew his love and honored it, although she could not understand it nor return it. I looked closely at her, and I saw that although all the world had exclaimed at her indifference to such homage, and had declared it was astonishing she should lose so fine a match, and she would only say simply and quietly, "If Shakespeare loved me, and I did not love him, how could I marry him?" Could I be misanthropical when I saw such fidelity and dignity and simplicity? You may believe that I was especially curious to look at that old lover of hers through my glasses. He was no longer young, and you know, when I came and his fame and fortune were secure. Certainly I have heard of few men who were beloved, and of none more worthy to be loved. He had the easy manner of a man of the world, the sensitive grace of a poet, and the charitable judgment of a wide traveler. He was accounted the most successful and most unspoiled of men. Handsome, brilliant, wise, tender, graceful, accomplished, rich, and famous. I looked at him without the spectacles in surprise and admiration, and wondered how your neighbor over the way had been so entirely untouched by his homage. I watched their intercourse, their interaction in society. I saw her gay smile, her happy smile, her cordial greeting. I marked his frank address, his lofty courtesy. Their manner told no tales. The eager world was balked, and I pulled out my spectacles. I had seen her already, and now I saw him. He lived only in memory, and his memory was a spacious and stately palace. But he did not often frequent the banqueting hall where were endless hospitality and feasting, nor did he loiter much in reception rooms where a throng of new visitors were forever swarming, nor did he feed his vanity by haunting the apartment in which were stored the trophies of his buried triumphs, nor dreamed much in the great gallery hung with pictures of his travels. But from all these lofty halls of memory he constantly escaped into a remote and solitary chamber into which no one had ever penetrated. But my fatal eyes, behind the glasses, followed him and entered with him, and saw that the chamber was a chapel. It was dim and silent and sweet with perpetual incense that burned upon an altar before a picture forever veiled. There, whenever I chanced to look, I saw him kneel and pray, and there, by day and by night, a funeral hymn was chanted. I do not believe you will be surprised that I have been content to remain deputy bookkeeper. My spectacles regulated my ambition, and I early learned that there were better gods than Pluto's. The glasses have lost much of their fascination now, and I do not often use them. Sometimes the desire is irresistible. Whenever I am greatly interested, I am compelled to take them out and see what it is that I admire. And yet, said Titbottom, I am not sure that I thank my grandfather. Prue had long since laid away her work and had heard every word of the story. I saw that the dear woman had yet one question to ask, and had been earnestly hoping to hear something that would spare her the necessity of asking. But Titbottom had resumed his usual tone after the momentary excitement, and made no further allusion to himself. We all sat silently, Titbottom's eyes fastened musingly upon the carpet, Prue looking wistfully at him, and I regarding both. It was past midnight, and our guest arose to go. He shook hands quietly, made his grave Spanish bow to Prue, and taking his hat went towards the front door. Prue and I accompanied him. I saw in her eyes that she would ask her question, and as Titbottom opened the door, I heard the low words. "And Preciosa?" she asked. Titbottom paused. He had just opened the door, and the moonlight streamed over him, and he stood, turning back to us. I have seen her but once, since it was in church, and she was kneeling with her eyes closed so that she did not see me. I rubbed the glasses well and looked at her, and saw a white lily, whose stem was broken, but which was fresh and luminous and fragrant still. That was a miracle, interrupted Prue. Madam, it was a miracle, replied Titbottom, and for that one night I am devoutly grateful to my grandfather's gift. I saw that although a flower may have lost its hold upon earthly moisture, it may still bloom as sweetly fed by the dews of heaven. The door closed and he was gone, but as Prue put her arm in mine and we went upstairs together, she whispered in my ear, "How glad I am that you don't wear spectacles." There you have it. Titbottom's Spectacles. Read in 4 parts by me, Paul Griffin. I work at Mount Royal Branch Library. And we're also looking forward to getting back. We're trying to do some things at home to keep things going, and this is one enjoyable thing I'm trying to do for patrons and staff alike if they want. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any comments, you can find my email on the library website and email me or email the PR department. I hope that the day finds you well. Stay safe. And this will be done one day. And we'll all be back rubbing shoulders. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.